welcome to the Magic of Joy channel. Today I want to talk about an important subject, the burden of judgment. We all suffer to some degree from the curse of judgment. We have to have some judgment in life because we need them to make decisions for ourselves. Yet at the same time, they can be used to bully and are used that way, and that causes great harm. So how do we get out from underneath this social habit, or program, if you will? And that's what our discussion is about today. So let's start with definition. According to the Cambridge Dictionary, judgment is the ability to form valuable opinions and make good decisions. And some examples they offer are to show good, sound judgment, or maybe even poor judgment. Another example would be saying, I don't think you have the right to pass judgment on someone, to say whether or not you think someone else is good or bad. Another example is, I'm going to reserve judgment, whether I think something is good or bad for the time being. And then there's another definition, a decision or opinion about someone or something that you form after thinking carefully. An example would be, it proved difficult to make a judgment about how well the school was performing. So all of these examples suggest that there's a certain amount of wisdom that's required in order to have what would be called good judgment. So that begs the question, how do we get wisdom and how do we get good judgment? It is fair to say that if human judgment was wonderful, then we would have a healthier, happier world. We do not. So apparently there must be something we're missing. So let's go back to our childhoods. This is from an article in Reuters in 2008. In a study of 120 young children who were allowed to buy food from a play grocery store, researchers found that even 2-year-olds tended to mirror their parents' usual food choices. Children who stocked up on sweets, sugary drinks, and salty snacks generally had parents whose typical grocery list featured such items. Similarly, children with the healthiest shopping habits seemed to be following their parents' lead as well. The findings reported in the Archives of Pediatric and Adolescent Medicine suggest that even very young children do not indiscriminately reach for candy when given the chance. Instead, they seem to already be forming food preferences, potentially lasting ones, based on their parents' shopping carts. The data suggests that children begin to assimilate and mimic their parents' food choices at a very young age, even before they're able to fully appreciate the implications of these choices. And that was written by one of the researchers, led by Dr. Lisa Sutherland of Dartmouth Medical School in Lebanon, New Hampshire. So it's important to understand something about judgment. It doesn't just happen. We accept the judgment of others around us when we're very young as good. We learn through imitation. We come into the world open to and expecting good. The patterns and habits of our families and communities are also an important part of our ability to connect with others. So when we adopt the habits of our group, we're treated like part of the group, like we belong. And when we do not, we're looked at with suspicion. Humans can be very harsh in demanding conformity to a set of group standards, whether they're healthy or not. Your loyalty to the group can make or break your relationships, and especially when you're young, affect your survival. And so young children, expecting the good from their families and their communities, will mimic them, not realizing that they were also developing a loyalty to a set of standards, not of their own making. Sometimes the price of belonging is self-harm. There are fields where you're expected to become a drinker, and hazing rituals in groups of all kinds that demand some kind of self-harm as the price of belonging are not uncommon. These kinds of loyalty demands are proof of your being okay and willing to do whatever you have to and sacrifice whatever you must to belong to the group. They're a form of proof that makes you okay in the eyes of others. All of this sets up a dynamic in us whereby we fault ourselves for any divergence from the accepted norms of our group and are often faulted by the members of our group. Social norms are a big deal. They make being yourself, self-care, personal development, and living by your own values dangerous if your group does not accept you as an individual or your values as being appropriate, pertinent, and acceptable. And that is not unusual. So being yourself and living by values that are different and often healthier than your group can seem like a sign of disloyalty. And it can be taken as a rejection by people in the group. So there is a relationship between judgment, belonging, and survival even. Most of us are concerned with what other people think, not because there's something wrong with us, but because we know the social costs of differences. We know we'll be judged by a standard not of our making, which may be inappropriate for us. It is there nonetheless. So how do we get out from under this? We humans live by a variety of standards and social norms. One of the reasons we have so much conflict is because our different social norms irritate us, and they conflict, so they're at odds. However, there is one arrangement that supersedes the others as problematic. It's the dominator model of human culture, found in authoritarian systems. And under a dominator model, some make the rules, set the norms, and decide for others. In essence, individuals are disempowered and become basically tools to be used for the benefit of the dominator system, which always has the greater rights. This is not workable. It insults human beings subjected to this arrangement, and it normalizes abuse and bullying. It's important to note that many of our older cultural systems were built on a negative view of humans and deep distrust. Because all of our older systems were fear-based, and they still are today, they were also suspicious of people. That distrust is one of our difficulties in human societies, especially when it hardens into prejudice. Since authoritarian dominator systems are so prevalent even today, many of the judgments we receive come from those who are aligned with those mindsets and values of these outdated systems. So the first thing we can do is to take judgments with a grain of salt. We have to, because they don't necessarily come from an aware place or a healthy place. They may just come from someone's need to have us conform. The second thing we can do is assess how we can minimize harm to ourselves from people who are invested in perpetuating harmful social norms. Perhaps some house cleaning is necessary. And we can consider ways in which to support the effort to develop more egalitarian and humane ways of living and working. And that brings us to the value of a joy practice. A joy practice helps us align with quality of life and the common good as a foundation and as our purpose. And as a result, everything we do can reduce fears in others around us because of the deep friendship that a joy practice offers. And this will make it easier for you to own your own judgment and also feel secure about your own decisions. So that helps us to feel protected to some extent from abusive interactions from others. We do not have to be perfect, but we do need to be constructive. And when we are, a lot of negativity and bullying will fade because we wish no one harm, and that will show up in our energy. Will be nothing to prove, and it will be evident. So thank you for watching the video. I hope you have enjoyed learning more about how joy can transform your life. And if you found the video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends and loved ones. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more videos on the transformative power of joy. I'll be back soon to give you more information about how joy as a practice and compass can transform your life. Stay well and joyful until then, and thanks for